Howdy, howdy do, Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And welcome to episode 262.
Oh, yes.
One day, I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.
Our lives are different to anybody else's. That's the exciting thing. Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
You may be a doctor, but I'm the doctor. The definite article, you might say.
The trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
I am the Doctor!
For now, for this moment, I am the Doctor again.
The ground beneath our feet is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. And the entire planet is hurtling around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour. And I can feel it. We're falling through space, you and me.
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect. But actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
I could be a curator. I'd be great at curating. I'd be the great curator.
I could retire and do that.
I'm the Doctor. I've lived for over 2,000 years, and not all of them were good. I've made many mistakes, and it's about time that I did something about that.
Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor. Sorting out fair play throughout the universe.
Howdy, 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 howdy do. Hope you're all well. Hope you're all keeping safe and healthy. Hope you all had a cracking week. You've all managed to do something Doctor Who related. Welcome to 262. I mean, I hope you're all keeping well and safe and healthy. Hope you're all staying at home. Stay your asses home. No need to go out. There's no need to go out unless you need an ice cream.
Or an Easter egg, like me yesterday.
I joke, of course. I joke. You shouldn't go out for ice cream or chocolates. Send someone else out. I'm joking. Another joke there. Stay home. Stay home.
He's full of jokes this morning.
Seriously though, we continue with the weird old strange times of staying at home and self-isolating and all that jazz. So hopefully we're bringing you a little bit of entertainment to keep you going. To keep you going, indeedy. We had a crack last night, didn't we, dude?
We did. Yeah, had a good time last night.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it this morning.
Our good friends over on the Who Addicts YouTube channel. You've heard of us mention those guys loads of times before. But they've, over the last 2, maybe 3 weeks, they've really ramped up their live streams again. I think they do a handful every week now. I think they do every other night, I think.
Pretty much, yeah.
I think so, yeah. And they very kindly asked us to jump on last night and watch I'd probably say one of the in my top 3 episodes of Doctor Who. They asked us to jump on and do a watch through.
Top 3 favourites?
Yeah. Of top 3 favourites. Crikey. What did we watch last night?
Top 3 worst, you mean? So they have this fez that they have all the episodes sort of written on bits of paper, and they pick one out of the fez every sort of couple of days to watch and review. And they picked the Sanandra Conundrum, which I still can't say properly. Even hungover, I can't say it properly. Sanandra Conundrum.
The Saranga
Conundrum. And I think we were in the stream when they picked it, weren't we? But we were in the chat, rather. Yes, they have a little chat going as they review the eps. And we were in the stream chatting to them. And then they pulled it out and they were like, oh, no, we don't want to have to rewatch that. And we were laughing, going, ha, ha. And they were like, well, you two can stop laughing. You can come and join us. And we were like, think we're busy.
It was a straight face moment immediately.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. But it was very fun, though. It was very good. The episode itself, put that aside, it was a great crack just to jump on their stream and hang out and have a laugh with those guys. So yeah, if you don't know who those guys are, just go over to YouTube and just do a search for the Who Addicts. It's two very, very, very cool, funny people, Matt and Liv. You'll see them on there. Give them a sub and some love and all that lot over there. And we'll return the favour. They can come on ours when we do one next time.
Definitely.
We can make them watch something that they don't like. We'll watch the TV movie for Liv. You'll love that.
Oh, yeah.
You'll love that.
Actually, I genuinely want to convert Liv on that, because I do like the TV movie, and she's only watched it once and she hated it. I wanted to give that another crack. But I don't think we're ever going to convert Matt on. It's Hellbent that he hates, isn't it?
Hellbent, yeah.
He can't stand Hellbent.
Yeah, well, they made us watch Saranga, so they can watch what we tell them to watch.
There is a point. I don't think we had a few sound issues, so I don't know if it's still on their YouTube channel, but there is a point during the rewatch where Gary genuinely falls asleep for a bit. Like, I think if it wasn't for Matt or Liv saying, Gary, are you awake? You'd be like, oh, wait, you generally, you'd gone, hadn't you?
Yeah,
we thought your
knackered,
picture had
man.
froze.
Yeah, I was knackered, I was really tired. But I thought, no, I'm going to jump on the stream anyway. I'm not that old yet. That it's gone, it gets to 7 o'clock and I'm getting the pajamas on and settling down for the evening. I'm not that old yet. So I thought, I'll power through, it'll be fine. And I think it was about 25, 30 minutes into the Saranga conundrum.
Yeah.
And that was me gone, mate. I was slow blinking for about a minute. And then, I heard Matt or Liv just say, Gary, I do. So that was all fun and games. But overall, it's a very cool stream. So go and check those guys out over on the YouTube.
Indeed.
The YouTube. Go and check them out on YouTube. On the line. Coming up in today's show, not a lot of news and merch again, but to be honest with you, guys probably expect that. At the moment, there really isn't too much going on in terms of news and merch and stuff. So we've got one bit of news, which happens to be sucky news, but we'll get through that bit quickly, and then we're on to our review of the 10th Doctor story, Utopia. Yes. But until we crack on with all that lot, as I said, thank you very much for joining us another week on the Big Blue Box podcast. If you don't know what we do, if you're new here, welcome aboard. Make sure you head over to whatever podcast app you listen to your podcasts on and give us a sub. That way you won't miss a show that it lands every Friday morning. Or head over to the website bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. There are links there to go off to those network apps as well. Plus all the shows are on there, so you can just browse through and listen to those. Plus we've got loads of very cool articles from our awesome team of writers. Go and check those out. We did a really cool article that went out yesterday, which was our top stories to watch during the lockdown period, which you could also apply to any time, I suppose. But this is just so our writers, Mark, Jordan, and Maria, and myself, we all put 5 episodes forward that we really like, and it's just really cool just to grab a cup of tea while we're isolating and crack on with some great Who. So go and check that out. It's got some great episodes on there. And we're on the socials too, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Just do a search for the Big Blue Box podcast. You'll find us on there. And also check out my co-host Adam's stuff online as well. Adam has his own YouTube channel, The Geek's Handbag.
Yes.
Go and rock that. Give him a sub and some love over there. And Adam's on the socials under the same name as well, The Geek's Handbag.
That's it. I do love the socials.
Yes, we have a really, really great community around the podcast and around Adam's channel and just Who fans in general. It's really, really cool. So go and connect over there because we chat plenty of Doctor Who during the week.
We do. We certainly do.
Yes. You been up to much, bud? Who-wise? You watch much?
It's strange. I've never had so much free time on my hands, and yet I've never known the days go so quick. I just generally don't seem to have enough hours a day. Having said that, I do get up really late at the moment. I just say half the day is probably gone by the time I've actually got out of bed. Because it's strange being in lockdown because you don't have any routine, and you just you don't feel like you've got a rush to do things really. I've got to admit, it's a horrible situation, but I'm loving just actually being at home and having time to myself. And I've been doing a bit of filming. I've dug out there's a couple of videos that I've been wanting to finish for ages. And because of work, I kind of had abandoned them, and it's such a shame because I'm quite pleased with them. So I've been trying to finish those off. But no, the only other thing I've really done Doctor Who related, I haven't really watched much classic. I'm hoping to get a bit in this week, but Doctor Who magazine arrived the other day. It's a really great issue this month. It's in it's one of those that comes in a poly bag. I just like that poly bag Doctor Who mag. So it's basically it comes with well, you can't really call them free gifts, can you? Because it's the magazine's twice the price. But I'm pretty sure it says on the front something like includes free gifts or whatever. But anyway, it comes with like a little model of the wooden console room, TARDIS console room from the Fourth Doctor era. So I had fun putting that together. And that's pretty much the only Doctor Who related thing I've done this week, really. It got great enjoyment out of that. It's ridiculous, really. But yeah, so I put that together, plonked a few figures in it, took some pictures and had a bit of fun, flicked through the mag. As I said, it's a good issue this month. And it comes with a poster, Talons of Weng Chiang poster, and a few other bits, some little art cards and stuff. So yeah, that's really the only Doctor Who related thing I've done this week, is just put that little model together and sort of felt like a sort of teenager again. I was like, hey, this is fun. Yeah, so that's been me, man. I haven't really been able to watch anything. I'm continuing to read Sophie's book still. I read a couple of chapters of that a day because it's been beautiful weather. So that's at Childhood's End. I'm probably about 7 or 8 chapters off finishing that. And I'm loving that. I really am enjoying that book immensely.
Nice.
But that's been me. Yeah. Apart from that, all the live streams. I mean, that has taken up a lot of my time, actually. Joking aside, I've never been in so many Zoom chats and live streams before. It's been great. It's I suppose because we can't go out and socialize, and it's like the next best thing, isn't it? It's like a virtual reality pub. So I have been doing a lot of that, which has taken up my time in a good way. Yeah, which has been really good fun, just to sort of interact with people, keep checking in with everyone, making sure everyone's all right, and watching Matt and Liv's live streams. I've been doing that a lot as well, because they do 3 or 4 a week, or 2 or 3 a week, and yeah, I've been watching a lot of them as well. So that's been me. Yeah, that's been me. So I have been busy, actually. Now I think about it, I have been busy.
Not too bad of a week, stuff.
Yeah, not bad, is it? What about yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, not much Doctor Who for me, dude. No, I've seemed to have gone from one extreme to the other. So the week before last, I had a great old time. I watched loads of Who. I got the old Blu-ray special box sets out. I watched a ton of special features that I'd not watched when I first got them. So I caught up with a bunch of that stuff and watched a bunch of classic Who. That was all good. But the week just gone, I've not really watched much Who, to be honest with you.
I was hoping we might have an announcement to do on the pod, because I thought someone messaged me the other day and said, "Oh, have you seen Lee Biding's Insta story?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Oh, I think he said something like an announcement is imminent," and I was like, "Oh." And he did. There was like a real close-up picture of a Gallifreyan symbol or something. I thought, "Oh, are we going to get the next box set announced?" It's possible by the time the pod goes out there, it might have been, but I think an announcement is imminent.
Oh, for the next Blu-ray
set? The next set, yeah. Oh, okay. So that's exciting. I mean, I don't know. We're only guessing. It could be something completely different. But yeah, it's possible that the next set's about to be announced, which would be cool. Be nice, actually. It'd be nice to know which the next one is.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Because there's nothing on his Insta today or anything, so not quite yet. But yeah,
do you think the season 14 set is delayed, or do you think it'll still come? Because I know it was delayed, but do you think it will still come out on the new release date they've given? Because it seems like a lot of stuff's just being pushed back because of obviously the lockdown stuff, and people aren't there to manufacture these things and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know if there'll be a knock-on effect of season 14.
I don't know.
So I can't remember when that's due out now. Is it March?
I think it was
May. Sorry, March is gone. Is it May?
I thought it was April for some reason.
Oh, it could be. I've lost track.
Because
that is sold out everywhere, and it hasn't even come out yet. Like you cannot pre-order that anywhere at the moment. Not on Amazon, not on Zoom, just nowhere. It's sold out everywhere. But I don't know if that's if that's gonna be difficult to get or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm sure. Why do I think that? I thought it was April, the delivery date for that. Maybe it was May. I can't remember, but
it could be. Maybe it's the end of April. Yeah, I'm just going to quickly check actually.
Yeah, because I thought that when we went to see Talons at the BFI, it looked to us anyway like the set was pretty much done because all the special features were there, and obviously the episodes themselves were all there, and they told us about all of the work they'd finished were doing that they'd finished for like the some of the visual effects and some of the sound redos for I think a couple of episodes were in 5.1 and they've done all that stuff. So yeah,
there's no date on Amazon actually. It just says currently unavailable. So that's why I was wondering if it's been held back. Let me check Zoom.
Yeah, I'm on Zoom at the minute. It doesn't say anything either. So well, actually no, it does. It does. It says the 4th of May.
Oh, that's an easy date to remember.
Yeah.
May the 4th
be with us, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
So that's according to Zoom, but I don't know. Why did I think it was? I don't know. Anyways.
No, it was held back, mate. That's probably why. It was.
Right,
I think it was April, and then they delayed it by a couple of weeks. And I was just worried with everything going on, whether it'd be delayed again, but we shall see.
We shall see, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. I can't wait for that one, dude. Yeah. Interesting that the Tom Baker ones sell out fast. It's evident, isn't it, that Tom is still obviously viewed as one of the most, if not the most popular Doctor.
Yeah, I mean, that one is, as I said, to sell out everywhere like that before release date. I think all the other sets have sold out very quickly, but you've been able to get them, I think, after they've released. I think Amazon has still had them for a couple of weeks after.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But this one is just sold out everywhere. Yeah, I think you're right about Tom. I think Tom and Pertwee seem to be the two that they just get snapped up quicker than the others. And the others have disappeared fairly fast anyway, but Pertwee and Baker just, fly off the shelves, literally.
Indeed, yeah. I just remember the Davison and the McCoy sets being available, being up for order for a good sort of month, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 weeks to 4 weeks after they were released, you could still go on and pre-order and stuff. But the Tom ones and, like you said, that Pertwee one, I think it was within a week they all went.
I'd love to see another Pertwee set. I was going to say, I think the announcement is rumoured to be a Davison one next, but it's just a rumour. I would love to see another Pertwee set announced. That would be amazing. I know we've talked about how difficult it's going to be in terms of the picture quality and remastering and whatever, but I don't really care. I just would, it's like anything. You sort of get used to the quality anyway. There's only so much you can do, and you kind of overlook it, don't you? When you're watching it, you don't sit there and think, "Oh, this is unwatchable." So I mean, I'm sure they'll do the best they can with what they've got.
Yeah,
love to see another Pertwee set in the collection. That'd be lovely.
Oh, that'd be so good. I'm still hoping for a black and white set though.
Me too.
Really want a Hartnell or Troughton set.
I'd love Hartnell's first season.
Oh, come on.
That'd be great because I just love Ian and Barbara and all that, and Susan. Just love that TARDIS team.
Ian and Barbs. Yep.
Ian and Barbs. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll read you, mate.
Buffont.
Oh, Boofy. Yeah. We can they must be coming though. I imagine that the master plan from the Beeb is to have every single episode of Doctor Who in one of these, or every season or series in these box sets. That must be the plan. They're not just going to leave it like with big gaps on the shelf, like it goes 1, 2, 5, 12, 14. That must be the plan.
Normally we can get Lee when we see Lee at the BFI events, we can normally get him drunk and try and get something out of him, but we haven't been able to do that because obviously everything's shut down at the minute. But
Lee's a great ambassador, for
he is.
You'll never get anything, even with the most expensive wine or cocktail, you'll never get anything out of Lee. He's
Believe me, we've tried.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's my week, mate. I've not done much Doctor Who really, so I'll have to rectify that from
me too
from tomorrow or later today onwards because I'm on leave from work now for a week, so I can be like you. I can be like a student for a while.
Oh, I'm loving it. Yeah,
it'd be good.
Yeah, it's going to be hard going back. I tell you, it's going to be hard to go back because I'm just getting used to this newfound freedom, and it's going to be so busy when we go back as well because we'll be like caged animals let out, won't we? It's going to be crazy when the lockdown's lifted. I think those first few weeks.
We've got to be careful though with that because we don't want to go like one step forward, 2 steps back. Like just unleash, the floodgates are open, everybody piles out into the public, and then within 3 or 4 days, it's like back in because you've all spread it around again. So we have to be careful.
Yeah.
Anyways, shall we get this bit of news out of the way, mate, and then we're on to our review, yeah?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's land it. That cheeky, sassy old bird. Honor Blackman. That's the only way I can describe. She was.
Sure, that's the best way to describe.
With news like this, you've got to smile, right? You've got to remember people. That's one of the things about whenever we report on news like this on the show. And again, this is one of our things that Adam and I just do. We've never said, pre-hand, like let's try and be upbeat. It's just the way Adam and I are. Like when we've got news like this, you have to remember people in like a good, funny, happy light. So that sassy old bird, Honor Blackman, has sadly left us at the age of 94. And the reason why we're talking about this, obviously, is because she starred in Doctor Who back in the classic years. She was back in the Vervoids, right? When was that? Back in the 80s, 70s.
It would have been 80s.
Yeah. And she played Lasky, Professor Lasky, in that story. And from what I remember, I haven't seen that one in a while, but she was quite cool in that.
I just had a flashback to. Do you remember when we went to the BFI event for whichever Colin story it was? I forget now. And they showed some outtakes, didn't they, of Honor Blackman and Colin, and they were hilarious. Like they obviously had a very good time on set. But do you remember Colin making that joke, something about her having a big mouth, and she was like, "What?"
Oh yeah.
So they obviously had a good time filming that. She just came across really well, I think. Just very sort of laid back. Yeah.
Yes.
But yes, you're right. She was in the. See, I'm not. I can't remember the Trial of a Time Lord. I get a bit lost with the stories, but she's in the Vervoid one, whatever that's called.
Yeah, Terror of the Vervoids.
That'll be the one.
But she wasn't too bad in that. I remember. I haven't seen it in a while, but she wasn't.
I haven't watched it for a long time, actually.
Yeah. She was okay in that, actually. She was pretty good. But she had a cracking career all the way back to. She was probably most well known for starring in. What Bond film was it?
That's a good question. She played.
She played Pussy Galore, didn't she?
Yeah.
With Sean Connery. What film was that? I can't bloody remember. Pussy Galore.
To this day, I can't believe they got away with that. Was it? It's not Goldfinger, is it?
I can't. Crikey.
James Bond. I'm gonna Google it. James Bond.
Come on. Which one was it? I've not watched any.
I love the Bond films. I really should know this.
Goldfinger.
Was it Goldfinger?
Yeah.
Yes. That's a great film as well. How can I forget these things?
I know. We need to rectify this, mate. We need a Bond marathon. Yeah. But yeah, she was most well. That doesn't make very much sense. She was most well known for playing Pussy Galore in Goldfinger with Sean Connery, and then she was in the classic Avengers show and stuff like that. But the first time I remember seeing her was when I was 10 years old, and my mum had started watching this comedy sitcom-y style thing called The Upper Hand.
I remember.
Do you remember that show? And not many people remember it, but
now I do. I'm so glad you do.
Yeah, and I remember my mum. One of my earliest memories actually is because my mum was one of those. She used to love she used to call stuff quote unquote her programs. I'm sitting down to watch my programs. She was into soaps and all that jazz and stuff, and I remember saying, I want to see what this new program's like, and it happened to be The Upper Hand. So I remember Honor Blackman from those early days, and then as I grew older and started watching like James Bond and stuff, I remember from that. But yes, so she had a cracking career. I think she worked pretty much all of her life. I don't think she ever retired. She just worked all the time. So, but yeah, we do sadly say goodbye to Honor Blackman. But what a career though, and what a life.
Yeah, I'm so glad you remember The Upper Hand, because Joe McGann, brother of Paul McGann, he was in that, because they look very similar. I don't know if they're twins, but Joe McGann was in it. It was such a cheesy comedy as well, but it was like one of those comedies that you just, even though it was sort of naff, you just kind of liked it because it was so easy watching. And she was funny in it, wasn't she, Honor? Because she played that sort of what's the word? I've got to try and find not kinky, but she was a bit sassy. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like the sassy older lady in it. It was of its time, but it was funny. I'm glad you remember that. I do have a very nice memory of Honor. I met her going way back when. Do you remember because I think you used to go. You have to correct me, but Collectomania. They used to do one in Milton Keynes many yonks ago. Did you ever go to them?
Collectomania Milton Keynes. Yeah, I went to loads of those. Yeah,
I thought you did. Yeah. So I met Honor Blackman there. Oh gosh. I don't know when that would have been, years ago. And I'll be honest, I can't remember a lot about it because it was quite a long time ago. But, certain things stick in your mind. And I just remember she got that cheeky twinkle in her eye. And I do remember her being really lovely at the table. Because that's the thing. You always remember, even if you can't remember specifics, you always remember if it was a good or bad experience meeting someone, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, you instantly, if someone says, oh, what were they like? You remember whether you got a good vibe or bad vibe. I got a very lovely, warm vibe from Honor. She just seemed sort of exactly how you'd imagine, I think. But yeah, definitely got that little cheeky twinkle, very warm smile. And I do remember being very nice. But yeah, so I'm glad I got to meet her. But that was a long time ago. Collectomania. I think the signed photo I've got has actually got Collectomania printed on the bottom. Because it used to annoy me. I used to want to sort of cut that off. I don't want their blimmin' advertising all over it.
Oh, it did. It did used to have that.
Yeah, it used to have it all printed on, yeah. But yeah, sad news, but that's a good, it's a good age, 94. That is a good age. And like you said, she's done loads. What a backlog of career she's had. Yeah.
Rightio. That's all the news we have. There's no merch either. There's nothing decent.
There's nothing. Really,
that's coming out, as you'd expect. It's very quiet at the minute, so not much there. So I think it's review time, dude. What we got?
It is. So this week we are doing a David Tennant episode called Utopia.
The call came from across the stars. Over and over again. Come to Utopia.
We're going to the end of the universe.
So what's out there?
Cap'n Jack Harkness. And who are you?
Oh, don't start.
Jan, I do not protest, though.
Maybe later, Blue.
It's the future time!
The last of the humans scattered across the night.
Unless we reach Utopia.
And Utopia is...
Utopia.
Wowzers.
Wowzers indeed. Right, Utopia then. It was first put out on the 16th of June, 2007. Crikey, is this 13 years old?
Oh my good, don't really? Whew.
Bloody hell. Anyway, it was written by Russell T. Davies. It was directed by Graham Harper. And it stars David Tennant, Freema and John. And it's got a fairly decent supporting cast. And the synopsis is, those of you that don't know, Captain Jack comes into contact again with the Doctor, chasing after him at the beginning there, and then they fly through the time vortex and end up at the end of the known universe at the year 1 trillion, I think it is, or 100 trillion, whatever it is. And at this point at the end of the universe, there's like the last remnants of humanity are trying to get to this place called Utopia. And the only way that they can get there is by a rocket ship, which is being constructed by this Professor Yana, and his assistant, Chan Tho. And the Doctor turns up with Jack, helps him do all that stuff. And as the story progresses, we find out that the character of Yana is not all that we thought he was. He has the infamous fob watch, which turns out to be, is it the chameleon circuit? Is that what it's called? The chameleon
arc or something like that, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. Anyway, turns him into the Master. And then he regenerates immediately. Then we see John Sims. And then we're off to the two-parter of that story, which is the Sound of Drums and the Last of the Time Lords, is it?
Sound of Drums and what's the second part? Last of the Time Lords, isn't it? Yes.
I think so.
It is, yeah.
So, Utopia, bud. What do you reckon?
My word. I watched this last night. I have seen this a few times over the years and I've always loved it. I watched it again last night, and it is just phenomenal. I blimmin' love this episode. I really, really loved it. I watched it with my partner, who had no intention of watching it. He just was like, I said, "Oh, I got to watch Doctor Who because we're recording the podcast." Oh, go on then. So I put it on, and he didn't move from the sofa. He was like, "Oh, that was really good, that one." I said, "Yes, it was, wasn't it?" It just, it's everything in it. The way it brings in all the other elements, from all the little breadcrumbs that Russell T Davies has scattered through the series up until this point. The way he brings it all together blows my mind a little bit. It's just so well written. The tension that builds up throughout this episode is just amazing. From the music and just the way it keeps building and building, and something's not quite right, and the reveal of the Master, and probably one of the best cliffhangers in Who's history. I just love it. I just can't gush over this episode enough. There is so much in it that I enjoy. It's probably one of my favorite episodes of Doctor Who. It just, everything about it works for me. It really does. And even like there's scenes like that scene between the Doctor and Jack when Jack's in the radiation room, when the whole episode just quietens down, because it's quite a sort of shouty, big sort of lots going on episode. Mm-hmm. That scene between Ten and Jack, where they're just having this conversation, is so well written and so beautifully acted. It's just, I could go on, and honestly, I just could gush over this episode forever. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Cool. Do
you hate it? Do you love it as much as me?
I'm kind of in two minds about this story.
No, you're not. Come on.
No, I am.
It's brilliant.
No, I'm in two minds about it.
Really?
How
come?
Yeah, and I feel strange saying that. I don't feel bad because it's my opinion, but I feel strange because so many people love it and really, really like it, like you and 99% of other Who fans that I've spoken to about it. But I don't know about it, mate.
Really? You are genuinely surprised because I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I just don't know about it. There's like a big chunk of me that really, really wants to just love it to death.
Yeah.
And there's another part of me that I don't know what, I can't put my finger on it, mate. When I watched this yesterday lunchtime, I think this must have been about, I don't know, the 7th, maybe 8th time that I've seen it over the years. And I just, every time I watch it, when I'm done watching it, I just think, that was okay, but I just want to get on and get to the next episode. I don't sit there thinking, oh, that was like some of the best Who that I've seen from Tennant and all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know, mate. I can't put my finger on why I'm not into it as much as most other people are.
I'm shocked because I sort of the opposite, where this episode I think is so good, and then it has such an amazing cliffhanger. I remember being so disappointed by the way the next episode starts, because for me it's like build up. Oh my god. It's like, the Doctor's locked out the TARDIS, the Master regenerates. It's like, oh my, wow, everything's kicking off. And then you think, how on earth are they going to get out of this? And then the next episode seems to just start on such a quiet, just with them turning up on a street. It's like, oh. So I'm sort of the opposite. I think this is such an amazing build up. And if anything, I find the sort of resolution a bit of a disappointment. And I haven't watched Sound of the Drums for a while. We haven't reviewed it, so I won't say too much about it. But yeah, I just remember sort of being a little bit disappointed in the resolution of this, because I felt like this episode just was a real game changer, really. I thought, just brought everything together so well.
Yeah, I mean, the next two episodes for the finale, they're not the strongest of finales for the RTD era at all. But yeah, I don't know, mate.
But the Master reveal is so brilliant, and then he regenerates. It's just like, I just thought it was a real. I mean, I remember watching this when it went out, and when people say jaw on the floor, I really was. I was just like, I think I started to suspect he might be the Master some halfway through the episode. I can't really remember, but I remember thinking, could he be? And then when you see the watch and just like, and then and also just locking the Doctor out the TARDIS. That is such a brilliant moment. Like the Doctor is completely lost at that point.
Yeah.
It's like, and I love the fact it's such a simple thing as well. He just clicks the lock shut on the door, and I love that because it's sort of ridiculous, but I like the fact it's such a simple way of just locking the Doctor out of the TARDIS. He just is like, something so simple could just stop him like that. And then the regeneration as well. And I remember on a first watch thinking Sim was over the top when he appears with all the bye-bye and all that. I remember sort of thinking, I'm not sure what sort of master he's going to be, if he's going to be like that all the time. But watching it again last night, I loved his little 2-minute performance at the end. I thought, oh gosh, actually, I really love him as the master of that. He's so sort of overjoyed that he's managed to regenerate and he's sort of winning. He's won the situation and he got the TARDIS. I thought it was a really great moment.
I think actually, dude, as we've been talking about it, and I've said I can't put my finger on it, I think what it is, I completely agree with you. The whole build up with the Master and Yana and going through the motions, and then finally opening the watch and becoming the Master and stuff. All of that stuff with Derek Jacobi and Sir Derek Jacobi and all that stuff. I love that part of it. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love that part of it. But everything else in the story, I just find there's no substance to it, mate. I think that's
really?
what I'm getting at, because the premise of the future kind, like these kind of savage people, it's a bit like a Mad Max kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it Mad Max? Yeah.
It does remind me of that now you say it, yeah.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing where they're these savage people and they've got the weird teeth and stuff, and they've sort of regressed from advanced humans into these, cavemen, not that much, but, the kind of primitive sort of people. And you've got the normal humans, and there's this thing where we're at the edge of the universe or the edge of time, whatever it is. And there's just nothing, there's no real threat from those guys, really. Because they do a bit of chasing and a bit of growling and snarling. And that's about it, really. And when they bumped into that first guy, when they land on that planet, is it Earth?
Yeah.
Is it Earth? But in the future? No, it's a different planet. Is it Earth?
I think it's Earth, isn't it? I think. I assume it's Earth, but at the end of time, I think, yeah.
And they find that one guy and he's running away from the future kind, and they join in with him and they run away. And they get to this point where I think they call it the silo. So they go through this gate. But if you look at the gate, mate, all it would have taken was like a few of those future kind people to jump on that, and they'd be through the door easy. So this flimsy old gate with this little padlock on it and stuff,
Yeah. So, show me your teeth.
Yeah, and all that stuff. And
I liked all that. I like the show me your teeth bit. I just thought it's quite funny. Before listeners shout at us, it's not Earth, it's a planet. Why do they always give them such silly names? Malacasario.
That's it. Yeah, I was going to say it's some.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah. So you got those guys, and I can't really get into that. And then we've got this very strange build up and very convenient thing where Yana's been working on this rocket propulsion system for donkey's years. I don't know how long, and he hasn't been able to get it working. He's done all this stuff, and then we have this thing which is cool in a way, but I don't know. It's just too convenient where the Doctor sort of gets his sonic out and pulls this one cable out, does a sonic, and all of a sudden everything lights up and all this, and it's like, we're working, it's all great. So I find that the background story, it just doesn't do anything for me, mate. It's just I can't get into all that stuff. The only bit of the story that I like is the build up with the Master. Like there's a fantastic scene where the Doctor and Jack are having this conversation about
that's brilliant.
Everything, and Yana's just sat there and he's got tears coming down his face, and you can tell that it's like knocking him for six. Like everything's every sort of word that he picks out, like Gallifrey, Time Lords, and all that stuff. Every time he hears that, there's like this echo effect, and you can tell that it's like something's reaching into the back of his mind, and it's just a really emotional scene, and it's lovely. And then that bit later on where he becomes a master, those parts of it, I absolutely love. Some of the that's great stuff. Everything else in the story, I can't like it, mate, because I just can't. It does nothing for me.
Doesn't do anything. Yeah. No, see, I must admit, I don't feel like that, because I find the future kind, like you said, the Mad Max savages. I sort of see that as quite classic Who, like this sort of race of savages. And I know what you mean about the flimsy gate, but I guess that's more down to the budget. And this sort of brings me back a little bit to when we were watching the Sananga conundrum last night. I said to you, didn't I? How you can just tell that I can't say it. You can just tell that the budget is just so high with Doctor Who now. It just looks fantastic. And I just kind of wish, although I don't remember thinking it doesn't look bad, but like you said, you can tell it's a bit budgetary. Like there's a lot of corridors that it doesn't look anywhere near as like the production values that Doctor Who is now. Let's put it that way. And I was thinking, I'd love to see this episode made with that budget. Like it would just look so good. And it's not to say it looks bad, but there are bits that
it does look bad.
You could just tell it's been made on a budget. It's it's a quarry. It's the sort of same corridors that I think we've been used a few times, but dressed a bit differently. The CGI rocket looks dreadful. So there are things like that. They don't bug me because I enjoy the story so much. But I just kept thinking last night we were watching the awful conundrum. I just kept thinking like, imagine it with this budget. It would just look so beautiful. And like you said, the bit where the Doctor mends the thing so quickly, that's the only bit that I've knocked a half point off for, because it is, it is a little bit too, okay, I need to wrap this story up, so we'll just quickly move on here. It's the only bit that I found a little bit, didn't work for me. I was thinking, well, the Doctor mended that quick, didn't he? It's a bit convenient, but the thing I liked about that was what I love about the story is the Doctor and the Master are working together, but they don't realise it. There's something about that I really like. Like they're like two old mates that they sort of that haven't seen each other for years, and they're just working brilliantly. And look, I've mended that. Well done. And so there's this admiration that the both of them have got, and I like that. But they don't realise who each other is, and I just really like that part of the story. You keep thinking like, if only he knew that was the Master, or if only the Master knew that was the Doctor, that suddenly that would all disappear. So I find that a nice dynamic, that they just work so well together without even knowing it.
That's kind of cool.
But how did you think this picked up from? Because we reviewed the Tortured episode End of Days the other week, and it obviously carries on straight from that, with Jack running and jumping on and gripping hold of the TARDIS and somehow managing to hold on all the way through. But how did you think this sort of picked up from that story? Was it a good way to bring Jack back into it, or because he's carrying the hand around? He's got the Doctor's blooming hand in that jar as well.
In terms of sort of continuity, it picks up very nicely, because at the end of Days, we do have that. Although Jack's a little bit sometime-ish with that, because he's like, he's been all over the Torchwood guys for a while, and then just the little hint of the TARDIS, and he's like, right, see you guys.
Yeah,
it's been nice working with you, but I've got something way more important that's just about to happen, which is funny. And then he legs it. So in terms of literally a continuity between Jack legging after, did you go back and watch the End of Days, by the way? Did you see him legging across Cardiff?
I did, but I couldn't see him.
I couldn't see him. And then when he runs, because at the start of this one, which is really lovely, when the TARDIS materializes in Roaldale Pass.
Yes.
With the big Millennium building and stuff. I remember when I first watched it, I was like, wow, this is going to be a proper Doctor Who Torchwood crossover. I was expecting Jack to be legging to the TARDIS as it's dematerializing, and then I thought we might see some of the Tortured people also running out to see where Jack's gone and stuff, but no. So in terms of how it picks up from there, it's kind of cool.
I couldn't work out at the time why the Doctor was so off with Jack. Well, the very first time I watched this, because he sees him, doesn't he, on the monitor, and thinks, and he quickly runs away. But obviously Jack jumps onto the TARDIS, which is ridiculous, but I love it.
That's cool, that bit, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say I can forgive it because I just think it's great. I think only Jack could get away with that. But yeah, at the time, but the Doctor's really off with Jack for the first half of the episode, and he's like really, you can just tell I kept thinking, what is the Doctor's beef with Jack? Like, they didn't end part on bad terms. Why is he being so off with him? It's kind of explained in that little chat they have, I suppose. The Doctor's like, you shouldn't exist, and it freaks me out. But I still don't get why he's so sort of grumpy with Jack at the start, to be honest.
Yeah, I think this is...
Or why he wanted to leave him behind.
Yeah, this is one of the things that also puts me off of this episode a little bit, is that you know, and all of our listeners will know who've listened for a while, that David Tennant is my favourite Doctor from Modern Who.
Mm.
But in this particular story, he is a bit of a dick at several points throughout the story. And I'm not sure if I'm not sure if Russell specifically wanted him to be like that, or if he was directed that way, or a combination of the two. I'm not sure, but he just comes across as a bit of it's the only way I can describe it, mate. He's just a bit of a dick in about 3 or 4 scenes throughout the story.
Mm.
And it's not just that. I find the script just a bit catty as well, a bit bitchy, because there's a bit where Martha and Jack are having a good old whinge about Rose.
Yeah.
And we circle back to this thing with Martha about, yes, Martha, you're not the only woman that he's travelled with, and he probably likes Rose a little bit more than you. But, it's...
Yeah.
We get back to that kind of stuff again. Like, is Martha... She's clearly very jealous of Rose. But is she jealous of Rose because she was there before? Is this like the ex sort of syndrome, Or is it because Martha, which is probably more likely, unfortunately, is that she's got some kind of romantic interest in the Doctor? Because do you remember back in the Shakespeare Code?
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
where they're going to share the bed together and all that stuff, and so we get back to that kind of stuff as well. And I don't want to put you off. I don't want to be a downer on this one, mate, because I know that you love it. You really like this story. But,
I do think it's great.
There are just elements of it. Yeah,
it's the sort of episode that's got a lot of reveals as well, and I think the danger with that sometimes is that after you've watched the episode once and you're amazed by it because of all the reveals, when you go back and you already know them, sometimes they're not as good. But for me, watching this yesterday, it was still as good as I remember. I still found it really exciting, all the build-up with the drums, and even though I know what's coming this time round, I still found it a very enjoyable episode to watch, which, as I said, sometimes with this sort of big reveal episode, that falls flat on a second watch because you already know the big secrets, if you know what I mean. But I still really enjoyed this yesterday. You got the stuff with Martha getting jealous over Rose. Funnily enough, it didn't bother me too much. In a way, I found it quite funny because she's a bit like, oh, of course it's Rose. It would be Rose, wouldn't it? She's getting all huffy, and you think, oh, get over it.
Get over yourself. Yeah.
The thing is, I really like Martha as a companion. I think that's the thing. I think she was a great companion, and although there is this sort of thing about her being jealous and stuff, and it does get a bit tiresome, it didn't really bother me too much in this, because she could sort of share that stuff with Jack, and I thought some of the dialogue in it was really sharp. I mean, I love the fact that Jack's just flirting with every blimmin' thing on the, even what's her name? Shanto. Yeah, even who's like, catch you later, Blue, and all that. I was just loving it. I was just like, it's so funny. I thought the script was pretty sharp, personally. It was making me laugh in all the right places. I do agree with you about the Doctor being a bit harsh with Jack at the beginning. I didn't quite get that, I will admit. But yeah, overall, I thought the script was it was funny in places. It had loads of like action and big reveals. So yeah, the script does work for me overall, personally.
Yeah, I mean, the script in itself is really good. I mean, a lot of Russell scripts are, bang on most of the time.
You must have liked the way, because one of the things I love about it is how he ties in so many things. So like I was saying earlier, like Yana, Professor Yana turns out to be the anagram of "you are not alone" and all that sort of stuff. Saxon, vote Saxon, and we now find out that the Master in the next episode is Mr. Saxon, and that all comes to fruition. The fob watch from Human Nature is used brilliantly, I think. What else is there? There's loads in this. The fact that we get an answer to why Jack is immortal. It's because Rose saved him, but she couldn't control it, so he's now a fixed point in time. So all these plot threads, all the way back to Eccleston's, finale. Russell brings them all together And for me, I just find they all come together so nicely in this episode. I think that's why I like it so much. It's just it gives you lots of reveals, but it gives you lots of answers as well. And it just utilizes loads of things that Russell's put throughout his era into this one episode. I think that's the other reason I like it. But did you like that? Did you like the fact he sort of was using those things? Because, you know, one of the things with Bad Wolf is it felt a little bit of a anticlimax when it was revealed what Bad Wolf was. Whereas I think in this, all those things sort of actually work quite well, all those little reveals.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of thing that's kind of cool. So at the beginning as well, when they land in Cardiff, he's like, "Oh, the rift's recently been active," which is another sort of pull into what's happened with Torchwood in that episode where Owen opens it and all that stuff, and the Doctor mentions that and stuff. And there's a really nice bit where Yana's looking down at the watch, and you can hear the previous masters. They've used a line of dialogue from
love that, yeah,
from I think it was a line from the Damons.
You can hear the aimless chuckle. I'm sure you can
hear the laugh. Yeah,
yeah.
You can
panto villain laugh, which I love.
Yeah, you can hear destroy him. You know, you can hear that little in that bit in the Demons where.
Is it Delgado? Is it? I couldn't make out the clips, but you could sort of tell it was previous masters. Yeah.
Yeah, there's that clip from the Damons, and also Ainley's trademark kind of chuckle. You can hear that as well. I love those sort of things. You know, that's awesome. So yeah, I do like that stuff, mate. I do like that we've got a little bit of an explanation for Jack, which is good, like you said, and some references to other things. So that stuff, yeah, is good. It is good. You know.
That's kind of the changing point in the sort of tension between the Doctor and Jack, isn't it? It's when the Doctor's been off of him, and then he says, "What happened to Rose? Is she dead?" And the Doctor's like, "Oh no, she's fine." Then his attitude changes a little bit, doesn't it? So suddenly sort of eases up. I suppose if I had to be a little bit critical, because it is hard when you like the episode, but if I was being a little bit critical, Jack's sort of acceptance that he's the Doctor is very quick as well. He doesn't take any convince, because this is the first time he's met Tennant's Doctor, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now I know that's just for time reasons that we don't want to sort of dwell on it. We want to get on with the story, so I get it. But I don't know. What do you think about that? Because if I had to be nitpicky, I would say he does accept that that's the Doctor very quickly.
Yeah.
He doesn't really question it at all, and he looks totally different. He's a totally different person. Yeah, he's still got the TARDIS, but you know. Jack doesn't really blink twice, does he?
No, it's weird because Jack at this point is unaware of the concept of regeneration, isn't he? Right?
Yes. I'm also thinking about the fact he's got the Doctor's hand. This is the first time he's met Tennant, isn't it?
It's the first time he's met Tennant, yeah. So,
yeah, but he's got his hand from the Christmas invasion, yes.
So I don't think that Jack... Hold on. Was Jack there? Where was Jack? Oh, no. So Jack had supposedly, quote unquote, been killed at the point where Eccleston and the Ninth Doctor and Rose are in the TARDIS, and we have all that stuff. So Jack wouldn't have been aware at this point that that's what Time Lords do, or that's what the Doctor has done in this space of time, that he's regenerated into. And
at what point does he get the Doctor's hand?
Because
that's now I'm struggling to remember how he even gets the hand. I'm assuming that's explained in Torchwood. I really can't remember. Because he's not in the Christmas invasion, is he?
No, he's not in that. No. So the hand is in the TARDIS for ages, isn't it? It's down underneath the console for a while. How does Jack get the hand? This is why, if we were on a live stream, we'd have loads of people in chat going, "It's this, it's this."
Yeah.
But I honestly can't remember.
I've got a feeling he just plonks it on the desk in the first episode of Torture, but I could be completely wrong.
No, I think Gwen sees it. When he's showing Gwen around the hub at the very beginning of Torchwood, I think she comments on it, or he says something about it, but I don't think we know how he gets it. How does he get it? That's annoying now.
I don't know, because I think the regeneration thing, just to come back to what you're saying, I think there's a bit of a throwaway line where he's like, "Yeah, I've been doing my research on you. I know." I think he says something like that in this episode, to sort of explain how he accepts the Doctor. I think he said something like, "Don't worry, I've been doing my research on you. I know about the Time Lords," or something. Or, "I know you regenerate," or something. He does mention it very quickly, I think, in this episode, to just sort of gloss over the fact that, yeah, of course you're the Doctor. There is a funny line though, isn't there? He's like, well, who else would do something like that? I can't remember, but you're still trying to find out how he got the hand, aren't you?
So the right hand of the 10th Doctor was severed by the Sycorax leader shortly after Doctor's regeneration.
Bad hand.
At some point, Captain Jack has acquired it and brought it to the Torchwood 3 hub. So we don't know how, unless this has been put in a book somewhere or in Big Finish or something. I don't think we know exactly how the hand has been acquired.
Come on, Big Finish. There's a story for you. There's a gap for you to fill.
But I do like the exchange there. I think Jack says something like, "You've had some work done," or the Doctor says,
that's it. Yeah. Oh no, does the Doctor say it to Jack?
Yeah, and he's like, "Speak for yourself," sort of thing. So there's that kind of funny exchange between them, which kind of breaks the ice on how Jack is okay with seeing the Doctor as a new person. But it is the fact that Jack doesn't even question, because we do have a what story is it where somebody, it's Rose, isn't it? Remember when Eccleston regens into Tennant and Rose can't believe it. So that happens right in front of her and she can't believe it. She doesn't really accept at first that that's still the Doctor. And then someone else sees him and he has to do like a quick explanation. But every time that it's happened, people have seen the Doctor and they're like, that's not the Doctor. That's not him. You know, they can't really get their head around it. But for some reason, Jack doesn't even question who this guy is. He kind of assumes, I suppose, that it's the Doctor. But it's weird because he doesn't even understand the concept of regeneration at this point. Doesn't know who this guy is. But I agree with you, mate. It's a bit of a weird. But then again, for storytelling purposes, like you said, can't really linger on it for ages and have a big old conversation about it. Yeah,
it's just one of the things I picked up on. As I said, it didn't really bug me, but I did think, he's very quick to accept the new Doctor. Like you said, I suppose sometimes it's really played on, and other times like this, he's like, no, we're not, we're just moving on, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Who was that? So there's a woman that's infiltrated the base with sharp teeth that looks a lot like Annie Lennox. What's she doing in there? How does she get in? And she starts just throwing chairs at bits of equipment and blowing them up. I mean, I sound like I criticise. I actually thought it was great. She was sabotaging the place, but she did remind me of Annie Lennox. I think that's the only reason I'm mentioning her.
The short hair and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, kept wanting her to burst into song. La, da, 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 when she's throwing her chair, it's like, la, da, 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 da.
Well, do you know what? Do you know what, mate? This is actually, we'll come on to music in a second, but one of the things that is very cool about the RTD era, and it's only a small little thing, but it makes a big difference, is that if we were to fast forward to this story being in the Chibnall era with Jodie, what would have happened, I'm guessing, is that Jodie would have got Jack and Martha in that room with Yana and stuff, and she would have been saying something along the lines of, we would have had this big 5-minute exposition thing where she's like, so basically, right, the future car, they're doing this and this, and I've just seen that like one of them's infiltrated the base, and probably what happened was she got through it and we would have had all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas with RTD, we don't need to know how she infiltrated. We don't need to know how she got in, why she's there. It's just part of the story. Yeah.
Yeah. She's in there. Yeah.
So I think I do like that aspect of let's let our minds figure out and make up that bit of the story about how she got in. Did she have some false teeth on when they're like, show us your teeth? Has she got some grandma's old dentures in? Or did she somehow tunnel in, or did she like do something? We don't know. But that's what's cool though. We don't need to know every little detail,
Yeah, or did she get to the gate and say, look, I used to be in a very successful pop group. Now let me in. Oh, it's Annie, it's you. Oh, come in. You can do some songs. Where's, what was he called? The other guy? Where's your guy with the guitar?
Oh, yeah, go and get the guitar.
Go and get him. Can't remember. But yeah, we don't know. Like you said, we don't really need to know because she's just there to sabotage it so that everything can kick off at the end. And it does get very shouty, I would admit. Tennant, it's probably the only sort of criticism I've got of his performance, because I think he's great in this, despite the fact, like you said, he's written to be a bit off with Jack. I think he's superb in his performance. The delivery of the comical lines are great. Good sort of chemistry with Barrowman once, in that scene where he's in the radiation room. He's very sort of quick to put Jack in there as well, isn't he? He doesn't seem to care.
That's what I mean.
He's like, I know, I've got just the man for you. He might die, but he probably won't. So he's very quick to shove him in there. But I just love that scene so much when they're just literally everything stops and they just talk, and Tennant's kind of leaning his head against the window. I think his performance there is brilliant. I think both of them are brilliant in that particular scene where they're just chewing the fat, explaining to each other stuff that's happened, just catching up basically in the middle of a radiation room, as you do. But I do think it's a great scene. Really do.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, there are no terrible performances in this.
No, I think everyone's really good, actually.
Yeah.
The cast-wise, I think it's a great cast. I really like Chantal Do, whatever her name. A really sweet character.
There's a really lovely scene with her and Martha where Martha's trying to get her to not say, like, though at the end. She's like, go on, do it. Is it a bit like swearing?
Yeah.
And they're having all the giggly. That little moments like that are cool.
I love that. I made a note of that, actually. I said, what a lovely little scene, because it's, again, it's quite a sort of full-on episode. There's lots of shouting, but there's lovely little quiet moments like that scene between her and Martha. Yeah, but she's a nice character, isn't she, Shanta? I mean, you do, again, I hate to keep coming back to it, but when we're watching this, I can't say it, that episode last night, St. Andrew Conundrum, we were saying we just didn't connect to any of the characters that are in it at all. But I instantly warmed towards Chantal Do. Or, I just thought she was really sweet. And when the master kills her, it's horrible. It's really nasty. And, I really felt sad when she died, even though she does manage to shoot him, which is a brilliant moment, because you're like, yes, you got him.
Yeah.
Even though it's the worst prop gun I think I've ever seen.
Looks like a flare gun, doesn't it?
But it's got a big, it's like a flare gun, but you can see inside it. It's like a plastic. I'm sure they could have made a better gun. But anyway, I did think it was quite sad when she got it, because I liked the character. Or did you like her, or did you find it irritating?
No, I liked Chantho. I think.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, we've said it time and time again, and we'll always say it, that Russell just makes. I think you said it when we were watching Saranga last night, that when Russell, and we always end up doing like a bit of a love letter to Russell with these, but when Russell writes characters, even if they're on screen just for a little time, short time, you have a connection with that character. So when things like when they get killed or whatever, you immediately have that oh no moment. You have that oh no, not Chantho. Not Chantho.
And she's doted after Yana all this time as well. She's got a little bit of a thing for him.
Yes.
And he goes and just does that.
Yeah. So, she's the last of her kind as well, which is also sad. She's like the last one. So I did like her.
What do you think of the prosthetics and the makeup and stuff? Do you think it still stood up? Still look pretty good?
It's looked a lot better than the CG work, put it that way.
Yeah, the CG doesn't stand up well at all, does it? It's a shame. I don't think it did even then, because I'll be honest, I do remember thinking, even back in the day when this was first shown, I do remember thinking, oh, that rocket don't look very good. Because, it just, I don't know, it looks half finished, really. It doesn't quite look like they had enough time to finish the grading on it or something. I don't know, it's not enough detail. But yeah, the CG's not, I mean, we've seen worse, but it's not the best.
Yep. The opening bit was kind of cool. I didn't mind that bit where you saw, when they get to the edge, they're up on like a big cliff somewhere.
Oh, and the door opens.
No, not that bit. When they've left the TARDIS and they're just walking around, and they get to this bit where they see this huge sort of civilization that's been underground, it looks like.
Yeah.
And they see all these like little walkways and stuff. That didn't look too bad. But what did look really bad was...
Oh, that bit. Yeah, that did look all right, yeah.
Yeah, but what looked terrible was the bit where they open up, like the Doctor's about to go through a door and he stops himself from falling over. And you see this huge like area where the rocket ship is, and the rocket itself, all of that stuff looked really bad. Like, to be fair, there was one kind of okay scene where there was like a top-down camera shot and you saw everybody walking across these walkways again into the rocket. That didn't look too bad, but for the most part, it was more about I don't know what they were doing with the textures and stuff, but it all looked just really soft focusy, and
It looked a bit cartoony.
And the colours were bad. Yeah,
I must admit that's one thing. I mean, I've knocked a bit of a half a point off for the CG because it's the only thing really. I think in terms of production, it doesn't look great. It doesn't look awful. It does the job, but that's about it really. It doesn't. You don't think, you don't look at it and think, oh, this has had some money ploughed into it. Which even back then, there were certain episodes or two where you could see that the BBC were really behind it and they'd pumped some money into it. But this one, considering what a sort of important episode is, it doesn't feel like it's had a lot of money pumped into it. It feels like it's, sort of been made the best that they can, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Doesn't the woman who plays Chantal, doesn't she pops up in another episode, doesn't she? But without you actually see the real person. And I'm trying to think which. Oh, is it Turn Left?
Yeah,
she's the woman in the tent.
Yeah.
Yes, I knew it was driving me mad. I was flicking through Wiki trying to find it. Yeah, yes, that's right. So we can see her without the blue get up if we want to. That's right. She was the fortune tellery woman or whatever. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
What's her name? Chippo Chung.
Something like, I can't remember. But...
Chippo Chung. Yeah.
I like her character though. She's cool.
Yeah, I liked her as well. So what do we think of Jacoby as the master then?
Jacoby, right?
Yes. Is it a shame we didn't get to see more of him, or do you think it was just great to have him as this one-off performance that's, I think, is fantastic? And then was he gone too soon? Because when he changes to the master, you've got to admit his performance is so subtle. The difference is so subtle, but I hope you agree. I think he goes really evil, but in a very nice way, subtle way. I think the change in his performance is brilliant from Professor Yana to the Master. Just the narrowing of the eyes, and he just turns really evil. Yeah,
it's brilliant. That's one of the things, like I said earlier, that I love about this story is this part of it with Jacoby and the Master and stuff is brilliant. So that bit where he opens up the watch, and then the time energy, whatever you want to call it, he absorbs it all, and then you can just tell in the very subtle change in his face. So throughout the story up to that point, he'd had this very kind of approachable, really kind old man kind of feel about him.
Yeah, a bit cantankerous at times, but still likable.
Yeah. And but there's a switch that goes off, and like you said, it's very, very subtle. I think it's in his eyes. I think.
Yeah.
He sort of lowers his eyebrows just a tad, and he's got this kind of very. At first, if you were to see him from a distance, you wouldn't think that anything was different. But then when you get closer to him, and also just a slight change in his voice as well, his voice goes a little bit deeper and a bit more monotone, and he absolutely nails that evil,
scary as hell.
Yeah, it's
been
very
driving me mad. He says, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's very, very good. He's great as that.
Should we have seen more of him though, or do you think it's just right that we just get that performance and then?
No, I think it's just right. I think because I think if we'd have had more of that, it would take away that awesome just 10 minutes of him being on screen. I mean, I think they did some stuff with him with Big Finish, right?
Big Finish have done a series with him. Yeah.
How does that work though? Because he's only the master for 10 minutes, right? So how do they get around that then?
I don't know, because I haven't listened to it. I'm assuming that's a very good point actually. Is it before he's, put in the Chameleon Arch watch? I don't know.
But he's not been the master before that point, though. So as he's grown through his life and he's got older and older, he's always been Yana, hasn't he? Because they do say in the story that when he was younger, they find him on some place. Was it Silver? What's the location that they find him on?
I can't remember.
He mentions it because I think the Doctor does quiz him about stuff, and he does go on to say something like, "I was found on some beach somewhere."
Oh, that's right. Yeah, with only this watch.
With only the watch.
That's right.
And he also says to Martha as well that he's never opened the watch because he assumes that it's always been broken. So he said, "I've never opened it." So I always wondered that with Big Finish. Didn't they do like a multi-master story with him in it, or did they do?
No, they did. I'm pretty sure they did. So they've done a couple. They did one with him and the 8th Doctor as well, didn't they?
Yeah. So I'm wondering how they get around that then. Maybe they did that.
Who's our Big Finish? Who do we know? Because we know a lot of people. We like Big Finish, but I haven't got any of the Master stuff. Who do we know?
Ben Lett.
He would
Productions.
know.
Yeah,
he would know. I'll have to message him.
Yeah.
And ask him. Yeah.
Anyway, to answer your question, I think it's great that we only see him for that small amount of time.
I would have liked to have seen him one episode after this. I would have liked to have seen him escaping the TARDIS, and then an episode of him as the Master, and then regenerating to Sim. Maybe, I don't know. I having said that, I think it works brilliantly because it's such a twist that because I love the bit when Chanto shoots him because he's so full of himself and he's just he's I'm off. He's let all the future kind in. Yeah, you lot are done for, and I'm off. And then she just gets him as he's going in, and he's like, he says something like, "Buy a girl" as well. And I kept thinking, yeah, you'll be turning into one soon.
Yeah.
He's like, "Shot by a girl, how demeaning," or something. So yeah, I do love the fact he turns into Sim, I have to admit, but I would like to have seen just a little bit more of Jacoby as the Master, because I feel like he would have been an amazing Master. I really do. I think he would have been superb as that part. Well, he is superb. I think if he'd have done more episodes, he would have been a great Master to have.
Yeah.
I was saying to you earlier as well, when you search this episode on Wikipedia, it's got a screenshot of the Master regenerating, and they've absolutely captured the exact point that I love in this regeneration, where Sim's face is just coming through and he sort of does this horrible scream, and it's like something out of a horror film, and it's so well done. I mean, I know we criticized the CGI earlier, but I think the regeneration scene is done brilliantly. I love the way Sim's face comes through and he just goes, ah! He's like screaming. It looks horrible.
Yeah.
So I think the regeneration is brilliant. And one thing I didn't really pick up on until now is that I think it's the first time that we've actually seen the Master properly regenerate. Like, I know we saw the whole Tree Mass Keeper Traken thing, but this is the first time we've actually seen, we never saw Delgado regenerate. We never saw Antley Ainley regenerate. So it's the first time we actually get to see the Master properly regenerate, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
That's quite interesting. But yeah, I do love that scene. I think it's fantastic. Sim's loving it as well. He's having a ball, isn't he?
Oh, he's having a great old time.
When he's going around the console and he's like pumping levers, he's loving it. I really, gosh, I can't tell you how much this episode got to me yesterday. I was just like, when I switched it off, I was buzzing from that ending.
I've got some exposition for you. I'm going to go 13th
exposition.
Doctor.
I can never have enough of that.
So, thanks to this cool article over on the TARDIS Data Core, the Doctor Who wiki thing. Here's the deal with Yana, right? So they say, after the Master meddled with the heavenly paradigm, completely altering the state of the Time War to one that was ultimately more favourable to the Daleks, he then saw the Dalek Emperor take control of the Time Lord's cruciform, which frightened him into fleeing from the war. The Master fled to the far end of time and sent his TARDIS away to Gallifrey without him. He then used a chameleon arch to turn himself into a human baby, intending to eventually resume control of his body once the Time War has ended. So that's a big elaborate ruse to evade what's happening in the Time War and come back to his great self afterwards. And then with the whole thing, so physically human, the rejuvenated Yana was found as a naked child on the coast of the Silver Devastation.
That's it.
With only a fob watch, which he would carry throughout his life without ever thinking to open it, thanks to a perception filter. As a result of the perception filter of his own watch, he could never keep time and was always late. There you go.
Oh, right, okay.
So I'm wondering, I'm really intrigued now. I'm going to go onto the Big Finish website when we're done recording and try and find out how they weave this Master then, because it seems to me like throughout his entire human life, thanks to the chameleon arch, he's always been Yana. And it's only for that very short amount of time.
He's the Master.
As the Master. So I'm wondering how they pick that out to do some Big Finish stuff. But it's here nor there. We'll report back on that stuff. But
I know a friend of mine, Harry, he loves the Master series. I really should have a word with him about it. Because because he's always saying, "Oh, you need to listen to it," and I should listen to it. Actually, it's just like a lot of Big Finish stuff. There's so much to dive into. It's just one of those that's sort of always on my list. But yeah, it's intriguing. I'd like to know how they, especially as he meets the Eighth Doctor, presumably, because they're on the cover together. So how does that work? So yeah, who knows? Big Finish are a master at this type of stuff. Forgive the pun, but yeah, be interesting to see how that does work.
Yeah, they are obviously the masters of that, of all that stuff. I just want to quickly mention music.
Yes.
Murray Gold's music was really cool in this one. It had a couple of really good moments where those build-up things are happening, like when Jack and the Doctor are talking and Yana can overhear what they're saying. There's a really nice emotional build-up for that point. Yeah. And they also picked out a couple of spots where they use the track "This Is Gallifrey." You only hear it for 10 seconds or so, but they insert that in there a couple of times as well. And that's quite an emotional track. But just overall, it was just a really good Murray Gold. It wasn't too kind of bombastic and in your face like some of these stories are, but it was definitely, he definitely wrote that to suit those action scenes and also the more emotional stuff. I thought it was a really good balance of those two.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I love the music in this. The Masters, that eerie theme that Murray does for the Masters, that it shivers down the spine stuff, and the beating of the drums and all that. But for me, like you said, the pinnacle scene is when Yana's just hearing the key words TARDIS, and all that, and then the build up of the music there is fantastic. I found that quite, I don't know if emotional is the right word, but I found it quite gripping, that particular bit. And that's a lot of that was thanks to the music.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else, dude, you want to mention before we put a score on it?
No, I don't think so. I mean, just overall, I mean, the cast I thought were very good in this. Really, I just thought they really brought the production to life. So I don't have any sort of qualms of anyone this week in terms of the cast. I thought they were all great. Even Annie Lennox put in a good performance.
Even Annie Lennox.
She was great. But no, I thought the cast were good. And I think we've pretty much covered it.
Okay, cool. Scores. I think it's you to go first.
Okay, well, I'm going high on this one. As I said, it's one of my faves. So I'm going with a 9.5. And I'm only taking off half a point for the CGI, really, because I just agree it looked a bit naff. But I really enjoyed this from start to finish. So it's a 9.5.
Wow, I don't think you've gone past a 9, mate, before, ever.
Really? Yeah, this is up there, one of my favourites.
So.
This, Parting of the Ways, and Turn Left. They're ones that spring to mind as my favourites from since the show come back. This is definitely up there. Yeah, I love it.
Cool. I'm going to give this a 7.5.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Just because, like I mentioned earlier, I love all the stuff with Yana and becoming the Master and all the build-up and everything like that. The rest of it, and I will surprise a few people, I just cannot really kind of get into all the other stuff that's going on. I just find it all very...
You're just waiting for the build-up.
Yeah, all the other stuff I can't get into.
All those people that are going onto the ship, I can't quite remember because I haven't watched it for a while. Are they going off to be made into Toclophane, or am I getting confused?
I think so.
Because I kept thinking they think they're off to Utopia, but isn't there some reveal that actually they all get... Doesn't that poor little kid doesn't get turned into a Toclophane?
I think so.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the other two parts.
No, I'm sure, because I was watching them go over thinking, oh dear, it's off to their doom. Think they're off to paradise, but yeah.
Yeah.
I did want to go straight on and watch Sound of the Drums. I must admit, I really, really wanted to go on and watch the next two-parter, but I didn't because we haven't reviewed it. So I'll save that for another time. But this episode always makes you want to carry on the story.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the deal. I think the whole Toclophane thing is I think the Utopia is
I'm
just
pretty sure that's where they're going. I kept thinking, it's a cruel twist coming for those poor guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, indeedy. Yep. Just having a look. Yeah, I think this is the highest score that you've dished out, mate.
What did I give Turn Left? Because I put this right up there. This and Turn Left are two that I absolutely love. Have we reviewed Parting of the Ways as well? Because that's my all-time favourite.
I think so. Martin of the Ways. What did
I'm sure we have.
Yeah, episode 159.
What did I rate it?
What did you rate it? You rated it. Oh, that's back in 2017. You gave it a... Oh, no, we both gave that a 9.5, mate. Sorry.
Oh, so it's the same, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's good. As long as if I'd scored that a 9, I would have had to drop this because Martin of the Ways is my favourite.
Actually, sorry, dude. No, you have given something a 10.
5 Doctors.
You gave The Doctor Dances a 10.
Doctor Dances? Yes, another. Yeah, well, I may have been a bit generous there. That is it, but that is a great. Yeah, it's another one.
Amazing, that one.
Another one I love. Yeah.
So there we go. There's our scores on that. 9.5 from him, 7.5 from me. What did our listeners think? We had the usual bunch of reviewers in. Let's kick off with Sammy from Down Under.
G'day, Gary and Adam. Sammy's Teen here. So, Utopia. So Derek Jacobi thoroughly deserves all the praise he gets for this. That turn to camera is my favourite Master reveal. The War Master, as Big Finish have dubbed him, is utterly terrifying, even more so on the audios. It's always great to see Captain Jack. He's contributing more to the plot here than in Fugitive of the Jadoon. Take note, Chibnall. Martha is great here too. Her interactions with Chan Tho are great. I like Chan Tho. Creed is a sweet kid. David Tennant, well, what can I say? He was great as per usual. I hope there's a 10th Doctor episode watch along soon. I give it 10 Chan Thos out of 10. See ya.
A 10 out of 10.
A 10 out of 10,
That's more like it.
Nice one, Sammy. Cool. Thank you very much. Moving on. Martin Arnold, here we go.
Hey everybody, hope you're all well and staying safe. I think Utopia is a great episode. I love that Jack's back, adding a bit of fire to what is kind of a bleak story. I mean, the premise is really good, and the setting is actually not this sort of super futuristic environment. It's kind of pretty old school. Like you could imagine it being modern day. I love the rising threat. I love the fact that the viewer is allowed to be one step ahead of the Doctor with all the pieces that have been given thus far, and he can piece together what's happening. You are not alone. And of course, Derek Jacobi's brief but fantastic turn as the Master before manifesting as the sort of the Doctor Who's version of the Joker, I guess, and in a weird way, that take on the Master is really quite unique. This is a great episode. There's not a bad turn in it, and the cast are great, and the characters are great, and it doesn't slow down or get boring. 9 out of 10. Cheers and take care.
9 out of 10.
Another strong score there.
Yes.
Hope you're doing all right, Martin.
Indeed.
Right. Thank you very much for that, dude. This is Matt on the Who Addicts.
Oh.
Hey there, Gary and Adam. I hope you two are well. Now, first of all, before I tell you about my thoughts on Utopia, I just want to give you two a big, huge thanks for all the great content you're bringing us in these dark times, of course, bringing us your weekly podcasts, your live streams, your articles on your website. You two are just fantastic, and I just want to personally thank you for everything that you're doing to help the Who community take over, of course. But my thoughts on Utopia, I think it's a 9 out of 10. I really, really love this episode. I think it's maybe underrated as well in some ways, but yeah, the way that it sort of brought loads of aspects to Series 3 together with the face of Bo, the Fob Watch, and it all culminated in the Master returning. It's incredible. The performances across the board are great, especially by Derek Jacobi, and arguably Utopia I think's better than the 2 episodes that came after it. So I think it's a solid 9 out of 10. My only regret is that when I first watched this as a 13-year-old, I didn't fully understand who the Master was and how awesome that return was, so I just wish I could get back into the shoes of my 13-year-old self and fully know and understand and experience that return for the first time. But yeah, other than that, the only other thing I've got left to say is I'm recording this on the day of your last podcast, so to me, our Saranga Conundrum live stream, which I hope you guys joined us for, is in my future. So yeah, message to future Matthew, future Liv, future Gary, and future Adam. I hope you guys enjoyed our Saranga Conundrum live stream, and I hope we, first of all, survived it. And yeah, I hope we can obviously get you guys on the channel once again for another watch-along live stream. You never know, we could watch Sleep No More. But until then, see you guys next time.
We did survive it, just
about, yeah. And, yep. Sleep no more. You ruined it there, mate, at the end. Oh dear. But no, it was good fun. So yeah, thank you very much. Sorry, for that. And I'd like to say that back to you guys as well, because you guys are doing a lot more stuff at the minute, which is really good for everybody, keeping everyone going through the weirdness. So thank you very much for that, dude. And a 9 out of 10, another strong one.
Yeah,
indeedy. Cheeky Chappy, Alex Kingdom.
Hello, Gary and Adam of the Big Blue Box podcast. How are you both doing? Utopia is so good. I'm so happy that this week we're not reviewing something like End of Days, otherwise I may have cried. But no, Utopia, it's so good. I really enjoyed this one. First of all, we get Jack is back after the shambles that is End of Days. He's back in Doctor Who, where he belongs, doing stuff with the Doctor. I love the stuff where the Doctor knows he'll come back to life, and we get a little bit of conversation between the two of them. Then we meet the Future Kind, which are the most silly things in this episode. They're the only thing I don't like. Future Kind, I don't see the point in them. They seem like villain for villain's sake. When actually you could have just had the story of, can these people get to this place called Utopia? That could have been the story, and that could have been the threat. Can they do it? And the fact that it turns out to be the Master, Professor Yana, Jared Jacobi, who is the sweetest man as Yana, wanting to save people. Turns out he is the complete opposite. He is secretly the Master in disguise. And that scene where where Martha finds the pocket watch, I think it's Martha that finds the pocket watch. And we're like, oh no, because we found out about this only a few weeks earlier in Human Nature and Family of Blood. We know what this means. Yana stands for You Are Not Alone. The Master is back. That's it's so good. It's such a good episode. And then the Master steals the TARDIS as John Sim. Fantastic. And we're set off for 2 weeks of a brilliant finale. I mean, what isn't there to say about this one, guys? It's just fantastic. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. I could go higher, but the Future Kind really annoy me, and the fact there's a sort of a mini subplot with them. Yeah, whenever they're on screen, I just don't like it. But apart from that, it's phenomenal. And I'll see you guys next week. Have a good rest of the show. Stay safe, everyone. And yeah, have a good week.
Another 9.
A 9. I know what you're saying about the Future Kind. The only thing I would say in their defense is, I love the bit where the Master lets them in at the end. It's like letting a pack of wolves in. You know what I mean? To me, it just adds that extra bit of tension of the Doctor being stranded there because he's let them in. But I know what he means.
Yeah, I know what you mean, buddy. And one thing that we haven't mentioned at all, our reviewers haven't mentioned him either, is, did you like the little bit with the face of Bo?
Oh yeah, yeah, not alone. Yeah, I do. I'm always happy to see that big old face.
I forgot to mention him because he does pop up, doesn't he, throughout Tennant's era. And is there still that theory that Captain Jack is the face? Is that still a thing?
Yeah. It's a sort of unspoken. I never want that to be answered either. It should always just be a little throw of, is he? Isn't he? Yeah. Because it's Jack says it in it's a Martha episode when they're in Cardiff and Jack said, the face of Bo, they used to call me. And anyway, see you guys later. It's that bit, isn't it?
That's it, yeah.
I don't know what the episode is, but yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Thank you very much, Alex. Another 9, very good. And last up, this is Craig Bryce.
Hi guys, hope you're both well. So, Utopia, what do I think of this one? I absolutely adore this story. Probably my favourite out of Series 3. I mean, first of all, we get Captain Jack back and we find out some more about what's been happening to him since Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways, but that doesn't overshadow the main thing of the story, the Master coming back. And Derek Jacobi is absolutely brilliant, on top form here. Say it's a bit of a shame because you do really warm to him as Professor Yana, but when he comes back as the Master, and then a regeneration at the end of the story, I mean, what a cliffhanger. To be honest with you, I've got no gripes with this story at all. All the cast are on top form, and Martha as well. Martha, a really underrated companion. I wish she'd come back on to Big Finish with David Tennant to do a set of stories. All in all, this story is absolutely fantastic. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Thanks, guys. Speak to you next week. Bye.
Wow, a 10.
Nice one, Craig. Craig loving this one with a 10.
I wish Freema would come and do some Big Finish as well. Well, she's done something, hasn't she? Was it Torchwood? But I'd like to see her do a Tennant set. That'd be great.
I didn't find Martha that strong in this one. I think it's just Freema. I think I've said this a few times. She's a pretty good companion, actually. I like Freema, but Martha, sorry. But I just think Freema sometimes acting's just a little bit...
Yeah?
Yeah.
Poor old Freema.
Old Freema. Don't get me... I like Freema. I like Martha. She's a very good companion. I really do.
I do like the bit where she turns over the watch, though, and looks terrified. That's good.
That's cool.
She's just like, can I just see that? Ah!
Yeah, the thing with Freema is that I can only think of a couple of stories or episodes where I think, crikey, she went for it there. I just find her a bit middle of the road a lot of the time.
Is one of those stories the Human Nature, Family of the Blood?
Yes.
Because she's awesome in that.
She's very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's our audio reviewers. Thank you so much, guys, as always, for getting those in. Let's move on to some of the socials. I'll rattle through a few of these because you guys went nuts over there.
Did they?
Yeah, so Zombie Who said a solid story in its own right, made even better by the amazing surprise reintroduction of the Master. It gives it a 9 out of 10. Genesis of Androzani, absolutely incredible, 10 out of 10. Game Troller Prime, excellently written, perfect acting from all involved, one of the best scored episodes, along with Forest of the Dead. And a really awesome concept for a story, gives it a 10 out of 10. Davros says, wow, I love this episode. The slow tension, rising build-up and sense of something going to happen, and that amazing reveal, a straight 9. DW Sebling says, Utopia is a wonderful, well-written adventure that keeps me on the edge of my seat throughout. So much fun. And boy, that cliffhanger still gives me the chills.
Yeah.
Caitlin Dalek says, it's brilliant. My favourite of season 3. The build-up is fantastic and the reveal is amazing. Alongside Murray Gold's epic music, she gives it a 10 out of 10.
A 10?
Nick H, one of the very best of New Who. What a twist. Wish we had more of Jacoby Master. 10 out of 10.
Indeed.
Tin and Sonic says, I just adore it. Jack's return was perfect. Tennant and Jacoby are charming together. The twist was incredible. A 10 out of 10. Sam Dooley, absolutely incredible. Pure RTD thrill ride from beginning to end. A 9.5. John Griffiths, a glimpse of what has become humanity at the end of time. Frightening. As good as Team TARDIS were, Professor Yana was better. Slow, understated reveal is tremendous. An 8.5.
Yes.
Our writer, Jordan Shortman, a brilliant episode. Jacoby is fantastic as Yana / the Master, and it's such a dark story. It's one I've come to appreciate more over the years. I don't remember enjoying it when it originally aired, but I was only young. Dark, gripping, and scary. Rick Moran from the Doctor Who Appreciation Society. The full range shown by Jacoby as he portrays different sides of the character is sensational. He is beautifully endearing before building towards very moving moments as he struggles with his memories hidden deep inside. Tennant shows yet another awesome display in his top standard performance as the Doctor. The direction and production values are great, gives it a 10 out of 10, says it's a cracker.
10 out of 10 again, yeah, great.
Titan Sci-Fi just says amazing, 10 out of 10.
Wow.
Edward Galuli, a great episode, one of the best endings ever, an 8. And Morgan McCandless says, an incredible episode. The shock of the Master's reveal is still there to this day. The episode is so tense all the way through and builds up very well. Jacoby was fantastic. Gives it an 8.
Cheers, Morgs.
And over on Facebook, Lawrence Baxter says, absolutely superb. I remember watching it live in 2007, being blown away with the immense payoff to have Jack back after what felt like a long time. Still amazing after watching it at least 10 times. A 9.5.
Nice, same as me.
Dean Jones, terrific story. Seeing Jack interact with Ten and Martha was great. Murray Gold's score is excellent, and the characterization of Yana is legitimately engaging, which makes the Master reveal all the more brilliant. Gives it a 9.5. Joseph Howarth, such a classic in the new series, a brilliant start to a 3-part finale. We have the return of Graham Harper writing this, which we see with the return of Captain Jack as well. Bonus as also return of the Master. Speaking of the latter, I love on a rewatch, there were subtle cues to tell you that Professor Yana was not who he says he is. Yes.
I forgot about Graham's, sorry, what does he give it?
9.
I was just going to say, I forgot to mention the direction by Graham Harper, obviously a familiar name, and I did think the direction was very good.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
As you did expect from him, yeah.
Charlie Turner says, Chan, a great start to a 3-part finale. And one of my favourite finales ever. I'm aware that it's been that he has done Big Finish now as the War Master, but I just really do wish that we saw more of Jacoby on screen. Oh, the War Master stuff.
Yes.
That was it. Yes. Okay. And then he goes on to give it a 9.5 and finishes the review with Thor. Very good.
Of course.
Millie McKenzie, Series 3 is my least favourite of all New Who.
Oh.
I confess I only loved 2 episodes and no, they're not that horrible 2-part. Everyone raves about whether Doctor is human. Oh dear. Blink was an exceptional standalone, and Utopia was where I thought the series was finally starting to figure itself out. It's a cracker piece of entertainment, crazy, exciting, funny, and a must have been mind-blowing for those who know the history of the Master.
It was.
But then she says it bombed again with the next 2 episodes. Stuart says, I see this more of a 3-parter. Nevertheless, I think Utopia's fantastic start to a superb finale, even if the final part lets it down a bit. It's quite a long review, goes on to give it... there's no score on this one, but it basically says, out of all the finales on New Who, this is my 4th favourite.
4th favourite, okay.
So we'll have to count them up and work a score out, but yeah. And lastly, Kevin Mullin says, although I'm not a fan of this season, this is undeniably a brilliant episode. I love the scene where Yana opens the watch and we hear the previous incarnations of the Master.
Yeah.
The shift in character is incredible just by holding himself slightly differently and narrowing his eyes. Yes, Kevin, yep. Transformed the kindly professor into cold-blooded killer. Gives it 7 chans out of 10, though. So that was you guys over on Facebook there as well. Thank you, as always. But you guys taking the time to put your thoughts and reviews down, I really appreciate that. Next week, bud, what we got?
Oh, next week, yeah, very excited about this. So we're back to Sarah Jane Adventures next week, and the episode's called Mona Lisa's Revenge. Okay. Sounds interesting. Mona Lisa's Revenge.
Are we on Series 3 of SJA? Is this Series 2 or 3?
Oh, no, it must be 3. Series 3, I think.
We are, aren't we? Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously we haven't been doing Sarah J for a while because of Series 12.
Oh, yes, of course, yeah.
So, yeah, we're Series 3, it must be, I think.
We are on Series 3. You are correct. This is the penultimate one as well. We're nearly at the end.
Oh, no, don't say that.
Yeah. So, yes, Mona Lisa's Revenge from Sarah Jane. Get that watched because we'll be asking for your thoughts and reviews as always. And, yeah, I think we'll do there, bud. 4, 2, 6, 2.
2.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sticking with the podcast, guys, and listening to another week, 262. It's been interesting, I think is the word, to go through Utopia. I think a lot of people, you included, buddy, assumed that this would be 9s or 10s across the board.
I'm surprised, I thought you'd love this one. When I finished watching it yesterday, I thought, I bet Gary, loves that.
Yes, it's one of those things where because we've never reviewed it, I've always sort of kept tight-lipped about it, and I've always said, the Master bit's brilliant and Jacoby's great, but after deep diving, it's not one of my favourite ones, but still a good episode nonetheless. And I'm glad that you loved it, bud.
Oh, I do.
A 9.5. Yes. Thank you once again to our guys that sent in the audio clips. That's really cool. And those of you that interacted over on the socials, that's awesome. So we'll be asking, we always put a post out on a Monday morning, so keep an eye out on the socials where you can put your thoughts down for the next review, which is Mona Lisa's Revenge, SJA. In the meantime, head over to the website, bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all of our shows over there. Plus, there's loads of cool articles that our writing team put out every week, so get stuck into those as well. Just grab a cup of tea and settle in and read all of that stuff. We've got some great articles there. Remember to subscribe to the show, whatever podcast app you listen to your podcasts on. Give us a sub there so you don't miss a show when they land every Friday morning. And if you've got a minute to leave a review, that would be awesome because that really helps us out. You can leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser, those kind of things. That would be really helpful. We'd love you guys for that. We're on the socials too, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Just give us a like and a follow there because we chat plenty of Doctor Who throughout the week. It'd be great to interact with you guys over there as well. We've also got a Discord server. I'll put a link in the show notes to that, and a link will be up on the website soon, so come and hang out. Lots of Who fans chatting Doctor Who there. And we're on YouTube as well, doing live streams and whatnot, so just do a search on YouTube for The Big Blue Box. Also, check out my co-host channel.
Oh, yes.
The Old Geek's Handbag.
Yeah, go and have a look at the Geeks handbag. I am working on new vids, but there's plenty there to keep you going while I'm editing and things.
Indeedy. Yeah. As grab a cup of tea, settle in for that one as well. So the Geeks handbag on the socials are all under the same name. Yes. Until next week for 263. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
Remember.